Wow, hello everyone. The morning after the Bahrain Grand Prix. What a race it was. What a way to kickstart the 2021 season. It planted the seed for an immense battle between Verstappen and Hamilton for the rest of 2021. As opening races go, they don't get much better than that. I was impressed. So in this review and report of the first race of the season, we'll go over how the race unfolded, a few notable mentions, what we learnt, my rating on the race, and what's next. So without further ado, let's begin. So for the first time ever, it was Verstappen on pole from Lewis Hamilton in second, which already set the race up for a very interesting battle. But not long after lights out, on the formation lap, Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez, his car cut out in the final sector. I think it was something to do with the control electronics, so he had to start from the pit lane. Once the race finally got underway after a second formation lap, Nikita Mazepin just dropped it coming out of turn 2. A rookie error, put too much throttle on and spun out into the barrier. Unfortunately for him, he's not proving himself yet, but the season's a long one. He's got a long way to go.
Against Hamilton, and it is Nikita Mazepin who went off and into the barriers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He got a bit trigger happy with the throttle and went off and had his own.
And this brought out the safety car. So after about 13 or 14 laps, Mercedes went aggressive and tried to undercut Verstappen as Lewis Hamilton was behind him by about 1.6, 1.7 seconds. They went for the undercut and it was successful. They forced Verstappen to go long on his first stint because after one lap of the undercut, Lewis would have come out ahead. So Red Bull went 5 or 6 laps longer.
Yeah, the gap was about 1.5 seconds.
1.7 it was.
Yeah, between Verstappen and Hamilton. Chance of an overtake.
Out.
Wow. Mercedes pulled the trigger for the undercut. Red Bull has said, right, you do that. That's absolutely fine. Max Verstappen is not going to like this, I'm sure, as he sees Lewis Hamilton now disappearing through turn 1 and into the lead.
In this middle stint, though, Hamilton struggled on those hard tyres, struggling for grip, and Verstappen was taking chunks out of his lead. Sadly, though, Fernando Alonso's return was not a happy one. About halfway through the race, he had to retire because of brake issues. An unhappy return for the Spaniard, but like I said, it's a long way to go in the season, and hopefully Alpine can get that act together. So Hamilton made his second stop considerably earlier than Verstappen, because like I said, he was struggling on those hard tyres. Unfortunately, he had no more medium tyres left, so had to put on another set of hard tyres and make them go the distance at the end of the race. Verstappen then stopped, again 5 or 6 laps after Lewis, but this time he put on the medium tyres as he had another spare set.
Crosses the start-finish line and Max Verstappen makes his way out of the pit. Sub 2 second stop for the Red Bull crew. That wasn't just neat, that was super neat, wasn't it? And now, ladies and gentlemen, with 16 laps to go, it is...
This in turn set up an immense shootout between Verstappen and Hamilton in the final stint. Hamilton on worn hards and Verstappen on fresher mediums. However, while all this was happening, Ocon made a move on Vettel in the battle for 15th, I think. Ocon went around the outside, pulled in front of Vettel, he had the racing line, and Vettel just didn't manage to slow the car down, went straight into the back of Ocon and took them both out. Luckily they were both able to carry on, but it was a bizarre incident and the 4-time champion was 100% at fault. So it wasn't long before Max Verstappen was taking considerable chunks out of Lewis Hamilton's lead. The gap was about 7 seconds, and within about 8 laps, that gap, they were wheel to wheel. And for the final 5 laps, it was going to be a wheel-to-wheel. With 4 laps to go, Verstappen was right on the tail of Lewis. Down the pit straight, he got very close, but not close enough. But luckily, there's another DRS zone shortly afterwards. So Verstappen kept very close to Lewis and made his move. Down his turn 4, went around the outside of Lewis. Unfortunately, in doing so, he went all 4 wheels off the track to make the move happen. Now, because it's an overtake, this is illegal, exceeding track limits.
Will Hamilton be complaining because he took the position whilst off the racetrack? He's given it back because he took the position off the racetrack.
Later on in the lap, he was instructed by race control to give the place back. Otherwise, he would receive a penalty. A let-off for Hamilton, but there were still 3 laps to go. But unfortunately for Max Verstappen, the opportunity was gone. In the final 3 laps, he didn't get close enough to Hamilton again to make a move. He languished around 8 or 9 tenths behind, and this is not close enough. So, Lewis Hamilton proved why he's a 7-time champion, and his quality shone through once again as he won the opening race of the 2021 season.
Lewis Hamilton, as he is now, crosses the line and wins the Bahrain Grand Prix
against Verstappen in what appears to be a better car for now. So that's how the race unfolded, and now we'll go on to some notable mentions. So controversy once again loomed after the race over Verstappen's overtake on Hamilton. Was it legal or was it illegal? Now, I believe it was illegal. because it was during an overtaking move around the outside of Hamilton and went 4 wheels off the track, and this is exceeding track limits and gaining an advantage. And of course you can't do this when you're actually overtaking a car. Now, people are annoyed because Hamilton was doing the same thing, going all 4 wheels off the track at that turn 4 exit, repeatedly for large portions of the race. However, it's different because at those moments he wasn't overtaking anyone, he was just driving around by himself and wasn't gaining too much of an advantage. And also a lot of other drivers were doing the same thing, but these weren't during overtaking manoeuvres. That's the difference. Therefore, I think it's legal. I think Hamilton won fair and square. So I think Lando Norris in the McLaren had an excellent race, a 4th. He wasn't really challenged too much, had quite a quiet race, but made that 4th position his own, proving that McLaren is strong this year and that he is set for a good season. Sergio Perez fought from the pit lane to 5th place in that Red Bull, an excellent drive for the Mexican, proving why Red Bull hired him. And with that pace, it shows Verstappen may have a competitive teammate once again.
Fantastic recovery there, Checo. That's fantastic.
And he was rightly awarded Driver of the Day. Now, unfortunately for Valtteri Bottas, he didn't really make an impression on the race. Verstappen and Hamilton were way too fast for him. He had a fairly average day, trundling along in 3rd place. Now, it's make or break for Valtteri this year, and performances like that aren't going to keep his seat for 2022. So what are 3 things we learned from the opening race of the season? Well, it confirms that Haas have the slowest car, clearly. Both qualified 19th and 20th, and couldn't really do anything in the race. Mazepin spun out straight away, and Mick Schumacher was languishing in last place, I think, for majority of the race. It's going to be a tough season for them, a long season for them, but Mick Schumacher looks promising. Mazepin might have a better season, who knows, but for now they are slowest. So my prediction of Williams being slowest was unfortunately wrong. Red Bull have the edge for now. Now I think Mercedes, being 7-time champions and the mighty team that they are, they will claw that pace deficit back at some point. But for now I think Red Bull do look faster, but as we saw yesterday, Hamilton's quality will always shine through and it can win in races when he's on the back foot. And after Mercedes and Red Bull, it appears that Ferrari and McLaren are best of the rest. All 4 of their drivers had solid weekends. I think McLaren at some point might be able to encroach on the Red Bull and Mercedes battle, but it does look a little bit unlikely. And Ferrari are definitely in the mix too, so that's good for them. So that was a great way to kickstart the 2021 season. It planted the seed for Verstappen and Hamilton fight for the rest of 2021, like I said. It was a great spectacle and we saw some great racing. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10, because we've seen better Grand Prix, but we've also seen a lot worse, and that one is definitely up there in terms of Bahrain. So what's next? Well, we've got to wait 3 weeks now until the Imola Grand Prix on the 16th to the 18th of April. We saw this on the calendar last year, and it retains its place for this year. It's a very iconic racetrack. Maybe the racing's not as good anymore, however, it's a great track, and it wasn't too bad last year. So I'm looking forward to that one, even though it's in 3 weeks. So that is my report and review of the 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix, the opening race of the season. Like I said, I was very impressed with it, and it sets the scene for a great season. Now let me know any thoughts you have in the comments below, and I'll see you in Imola in 3 weeks' time.